leads to the conversation, the financial institutions knocking on the door, our ability to engage in the M&A transactions that we've been engaging in. All of that could not have happened with both the litigation victory and I think the change of the administration mindset.
You look at other diversified financial services companies and their, chief legal officer has to be an M&A lawyer, has to be a regulatory lawyer, has to be a compliance lawyer, has to be an employment lawyer, has to have all these disciplines, right? Which is, but you also have to think about what's going to replace the 33 Act, the 34 Act, the 40 Act. How are the CFTC and SEC gonna, merge to create rails for retail, U.S. citizens to trade in spot markets? That's a lot, right?
Yeah.
How do you hire the right people? How do you think about staffing your team and preparing for the next battles?
Well, I think it's a really important question. Before I joined Ripple in January of 2019, I spent my entire career, over 30 years, in this city, in New York City, big law, big banks, managing counsel for American Express, general counsel for HSBC North America Holdings, general counsel for CIT Group. I lived in that world. When I got the call to join Ripple, the reason I was attracted to it, not because I was, sort of a crypto bro or anything like that. I was attracted to it because of what you're talking about. As a lawyer, you want to get involved in an industry where the rules yet are to be written.
Right.
And you're working with a blank slate, and you can develop those laws, rules, and regulations and guardrails that the industry will live with, not only for the current generation, but the next generation. I think that is super, super exciting.
One of the biggest markets in traditional finance that hasn't quite made its way into crypto yet is the interest rate swap market, right? And when you think about how ISDA has grown musculature into new asset classes, we had Mike on a little bit earlier to talk about Ripple Prime. The OTC world and the derivatives world, which is 3/4 of crypto trading, it's not going away, right? It's something which is going to need its legs filled out. How do you think? How close to traditional finance derivatives market structure do you think native crypto trading will move?
Yeah, so I think I think we will get to the point. This is why Ripple has made these strategic acquisitions for prime brokerage, treasury management, et cetera. I think we'll get to the point where, look, at the end of the day, traditional finance, they're not mercenaries, they're missionaries. They're not getting involved with crypto because it's something cool. They're getting involved with crypto because it could help their bottom line. It could take out friction in terms of their back office, and it could help them save costs. And those costs, given the volumes that they're trading on, those costs could be measured in double-digit basis points, and those could be massive savings to the bottom line. So I think what we're going to see is the derivative market, the overnight market, the repo market, aided by things like stablecoins and stablecoins being used as overnight collateral and prime brokerage, mixing fiat and treasury and crypto. It's almost going to become seamless. And I think traditional finance will simply follow to the most efficient, cost-effective, and market-safe way to accomplish what they're accomplishing.
Now, one of the primary pieces of architecture that helps traditional finance do this is SROs, right? And
right.
I don't hear a lot about how the crypto industry integrates into the current SRO space, into FINRA or its equivalents, or whether a new SRO framework has to take place, or whether that's just not going to be available to the crypto industry. What's your?
But think about overnight collateral,
right?
Right. So if overnight collateral can be solved through the use of stablecoins, I think that opens up an entire new greenfield in terms of how we're thinking about even the repo market.
Right.
We had Patrick Witt at the desk earlier today. He said he really thinks market structure is going to pass before the end of the year. You did hear him say that, right? As the chief legal officer at Ripple, do you think that that's possible? And how are you preparing for a reality where it doesn't pass this year and maybe gets deprioritized next year? So
I heard Patrick say that, and I hope he is right. And he's got a lot more information than I do when it comes to these things. So I hope he is right. In terms of whether market structure does pass by the end of the year or it doesn't, again, I go back to what I said earlier. Ripple is in a unique position. We have the legal clarity that we need to conduct our business through the SEC's lawsuit against us. Again, it was a horrible thing that the SEC did. They never should have brought the lawsuit. But the silver lining was we fought, we won, I've got a piece of paper from the federal judge 12 blocks away from where we're sitting that says the business we are conducting is legitimate, it is lawful, and it doesn't violate any securities laws. That does not go away, whether we have market structure or whether we don't have market structure. That being said, I think the industry needs market structure because we need to solve this on a statutory basis. And we've been working very closely with the industry and with policymakers to hopefully accomplish what Patrick is optimistic will happen by the end of the year.
Your career was forged in New York City, like mine was, and like
Yes.
many people were. We had a referendum overnight on inequality and cost of living and things like that in New York City. What's your prediction for the city and how it forges the way forward?
Yeah, well, even though I worked in New York City for 32 years and I was at my desk 7 in the morning and I didn't leave my desk till 7 at night.
5 days a week.
6 days a week.
6 days a week. Yep.
I am now a Florida resident.
Right.
So, I'm kind of watching this stuff from afar. So I don't really have a view.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up here, I do want to talk to you about the National Cryptocurrency Association. This is a Ripple initiative that you are one of the folks spearheading. Talk to us about that and
Sure.
some of the launches that were announced here.
So the National Cryptocurrency Association, very quickly, it's a not-for-profit. It's apolitical, company agnostic, protocol agnostic. What we are doing is we are representing the voices of the 55 million Americans, the everyday Americans that own and use crypto today, and also providing the 80 million Americans who are crypto curious the education and tools they need to get involved with the crypto economy.
How are you doing that?
We're doing that through spotlighting, number one, the everyday Americans who own and use crypto. They are not crypto bros. They are not money launderers. They're not terrorist financiers. They're single moms in Texas. They're cattle ranchers in Wyoming. They're artists in San Francisco who are relying on the crypto economy to make their life better. In terms of educating people, demystifying crypto, making crypto accessible, we're really bringing it down and creating jargon-free, simple, educational resources and simulators where people can create a safe place for people to come and learn about crypto.
Stuart, thank you so much for joining us here at the desk, and thanks for having us at the event.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.